Karen used her drone to spy on me. I jammed it midair with my signal disruptor. Have you ever felt the eerie hum of a drone hovering just a little too close, watching your every move? That's exactly what I felt one sunny afternoon in my backyard, sipping iced tea and minding my own business. The buzzing wasn't a bee or a neighbor's lawnmower, it was Karen's drone. Her latest weapon in her crusade to control the neighborhood. She'd been the self-appointed queen of our cul-de-sac for years, but this time she'd crossed a line. I wasn't about to let her spy on me like I was some reality TV star. What happened next? Let's just say her high-tech toy met my signal disruptor, and the fallout was nothing short of explosive. Karen had always been the kind of neighbor who'd knock on your door to complain about your grass being half an inch too long or your dog barking once at midnight. She'd write passive-aggressive notes about proper curb appeal and slip them into everyone's mailboxes. But lately, she'd upgraded her tactics. A shiny new drone, complete with a 4K camera, became her eyes in the sky. At first, it was subtle, hovering over fences, peeking into backyards. Then it got bold. One neighbor caught it filming her kids in their pool. Another swore it recorded him grilling in his own yard. Karen's excuse? I'm just monitoring for suspicious activity to keep us safe. Safe from what? Barbecues and splash fights? Nobody bought it, but nobody had proof she was doing anything illegal. Until she targeted me. I'm a tech guy, always tinkering with gadgets in my garage. My backyard's my sanctuary: string lights, a fire pit, and a hammock where I unwind. That day, the drone's whirring interrupted my peace. I looked up, and there it was, hovering like a mechanical vulture, its camera lens glinting in the sun. I waved it off, thinking it might be a kid's toy. It didn't budge. Instead, it dipped lower, almost taunting me. That's when I noticed the sticker on its side. Property of Karen M. My blood boiled. She wasn't just nosy, she was invading my privacy, probably recording me lounging in my own yard. I wasn't having it. Here's where things get interesting. I'd been working on a side project. A signal disruptor, a device that jams radio frequencies to disable drones safely. It's legal for personal use in my state, as long as you're not messing with emergency signals. I'd built it to test drone vulnerabilities for a friend's security company, but I never thought I'd use it in my own backyard. I ran to my garage, grabbed the Disruptor, a sleek black box with a few buttons and an antenna, and powered it up. Standing under the drone, I aimed and pressed the button. The drone wobbled, its lights flickering, then plummeted like a stone into my flower bed. No crash, no explosion, just a satisfying thud. I unplugged the Disruptor, picked up the drone, and grinned. Karen's toy was grounded. I didn't expect what came next. An hour later, Karen stormed across the street, her face redder than a stop sign, screaming about her $1, 200 drone, and how I'd vandalized it. She didn't even ask if I was okay, she just assumed I'd thrown a rock or something. You're going to pay for this, Mark, she shrieked, jabbing a finger at me. I stayed calm, holding the drone out. This was in my yard, Karen. Care to explain why it was filming me? Her eyes widened, but she doubled down. I was checking for burglars. You have no right to destroy my property. Burglars in broad daylight, in a gated community? Please. That's when Mrs. Lopez, our quiet elderly neighbor, shuffled over, her cane tapping the pavement. She's the kind of person who never gets involved, so everyone stopped. Karen, she said, her voice steady. I saw your drone over my house last week. It wasn't checking for burglars, it was filming my grandkids playing. I have it on my security camera. The crowd that had gathered gasped. Karen's face drained of color. Mrs. Lopez wasn't done. I checked with my son-in-law, who's a lawyer. Flying a drone to record people without consent is illegal here. Twist. Karen's neighborhood watch was a full-blown privacy violation, and now she was exposed. Karen tried to spin it, stammering about misunderstandings and community safety. But the neighbors weren't having it. One pulled out his phone, showing a blurry video of the drone over his pool. Another mentioned finding a similar clip online. Posted anonymously, Karen had been uploading her footage to a local forum, shaming people for unacceptable behavior. She'd even captioned a clip of me as the guy who never mows his lawn properly. The audacity. I held up the drone, its camera still intact. I didn't destroy it, Karen. I used a signal disruptor to stop you from spying. You want it back? Talk to the police. The police were called, but not by me. Karen, thinking she was the victim, dialed them herself, demanding I be arrested for stealing her drone. 2 officers arrived, and I explained everything, handing over the drone and showing them my disruptor's logs, which recorded the exact time I'd used it. Mrs. Lopez and the neighbors chimed in, showing their evidence. The officers turned to Karen, their faces stern. Ma'am, flying a drone to record private property without consent is a misdemeanor in California, one said. We'll need to take the drone as evidence, and you'll need to come with us to answer some questions. Karen's mouth opened, then closed like a fish out of water. Handcuffs didn't come out, but she was escorted to the patrol car, her protests echoing down the street. The aftermath was glorious. Karen's drone was confiscated, and she faced multiple complaints from neighbors, who'd filed a class action lawsuit for privacy violations. The local forum banned her account, and her neighborhood watch videos were taken down. She tried to sell her house, but word had spread nobody wanted to live next to the neighborhood spy. Last I heard, she'd had to rent a trailer and move out of town, her reputation in tatters. My disruptor is now a legend in our cul-de-sac. Neighbors even chipped in to buy me a fancy new hammock as a thank you for standing my ground. I'm back to sipping iced tea in my backyard. No longer drones in sight. But the bigger takeaway hits deeper. Privacy is sacred, and no amount of fancy tech or self-righteous excuses can justify crossing that line. Karen learned that the hard way, her own actions crashing down on her like her drone in my flower bed. I didn't set out to be a hero, just a guy who wanted to relax in peace. And maybe, just sometimes, the little guy with a gadget can take down a Karen with a drone. What do you think? Did I go too far? Or was Karen's downfall exactly what she deserved? Share your thoughts below. I am curious to hear where you stand on this one.